for holding this hearing. I want to thank our witnesses for being here today, and Mr. Iwasaki, look forward to being back out in Contra Costa sometime soon and see what the latest is that you're doing, especially at the Gomentum test site there. I would put Chicago's traffic up against anyone else's for the being the worst in the country. Technology we have great opportunities with technology to make real improvements. I wanted to ask about the issue in terms of testing, because we want this technology to get on the road so we can get all the advantages, but we have to make sure that it's safe. And as Mr. DeFazio had talked about earlier, about the choices have to be made about if there's who he's going to run over. He had to make that choice. So these are questions that have to be answered, but we need to know what the technology is going to do. We need to know the technology is safe. There's two things when you're talking about automated vehicle that you really need to test. You need to test whatever you're using for the sensors to sense what is around the vehicle, but you also need the software. And the software has to make the right decision, or the decision that we decide is the right decision in difficult edge cases. So is there a way, have you looked at anything in terms of using simulation to test the software? This is something, should we have a national standard where all the software needs to be tested in a particular simulation to determine if that software is safe for an autonomous vehicle? And I was wondering if anyone has done any work on that or has any comments on that, start with Mr. Iwasaki.
Chairman Graves, Representative Lipinski, thanks for the question. Appreciate that. We're actually we're not modeling any of the software currently out at Gomentum Station. We have a number of partners that are testing their artificial intelligence out at Gomentum Station. So Toyota Research and Baidu's on its third generation of the Apollo platform, and Toyota Research is making great strides connecting their sensors to that artificial intelligence. But we had this conversation before about a standard testing protocol for the software, and we haven't started on that at Gomentum Station.
Anyone else have any? Mr. Barna?
Chairman Graves, Representative Lipinski, we are developing, as I mentioned in my testimony, 540 acres of autonomous vehicle, connected vehicle infrastructure at the Transportation Research Center. And what that's able for us to do is to test in that closed laboratory setting, testing software, testing the limits of the software and what the vehicles can do before we put it out on or within live traffic. So we are currently under construction, and those facilities include a 6-lane high-speed intersection, a highway loop, as well as residential streets with roundabouts, so we can take the software through kind of its, take it to the limits as far as what it's capable of doing. And then with TRC connected to the US 33 Smart Mobility Corridor, we could test it there and then bring it out into live traffic. But basically, that's the idea of the AVCV testing.
Does anyone think that having that the federal government should be developing or should have a set software that the an autonomous vehicle software has to be tested through to see what it does in all cases that we can posit?
Chairman Graves, Representative Lipinski, the National Highway Transportation Safety Association sets minimum standards as it relates to the automotive manufacturers, and that may ultimately be the vehicle where we set those standards as far as what the vehicle or the autonomous vehicle should be capable of doing. I agree at some point that probably should be set at some point in motion. If we look at infrastructure, if we look at, for instance, connected vehicles and certain standards, I believe that the federal government plays a role in setting those standards, setting the interoperability specifications so that we don't have a vehicle operating differently in all 50 states.
Just
Mr.
really
Bott?
quick, really quickly, Mr. Lipinski, I think that USDOT is providing some leadership in this. There are, under the federal legislation that's being considered, there are safety reports that would have to be submitted by the manufacturers. I also know that Turner Fairbanks is working with software developers, and they're looking to build some open source programs. So I think it's this blend of regulation and private sector innovation that I think will get to the safety component that you're looking for.
Thank you. I yield back.
Mr. Lamalfa.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate the panel being here today. Sorry my late arrival with other committees meeting at the same time. I'm going to come from maybe a little different angle on this. It seems when we're innovating for our surface transportation and traffic needs, we're not